Imagine a world without trade. No imported phones, no Netflix, no bananas in your supermarket. Every country lives in its own little bubble, growing its own coffee, making its own microchips, printing its own books, and reading them too. Sounds impossible? Well, once upon a time, that's exactly how it was. Hundreds of years ago, most economies were almost completely closed. People consumed only what was produced nearby, within their own town or village. And only later did the world begin to open up, first through sea routes, then through the Industrial Revolution, later through global corporations and technology. Today, we live in a world where the borders between economies are almost erased. But even now, not every country wants to be part of the global market. In this video, we'll explore what it means to be an open or closed economy, what the advantages, risks, and consequences are, and most importantly, why finding the balance between openness and protection has become a matter of survival for modern states. Let's start simple. A closed economy is a system where a country tries to live on its own. It minimizes connections with the outside world. No importing goods, no exporting resources, no accepting foreign investments, and no sending money abroad. Such a system is called autarky, from the Greek word meaning self-sufficient. The most famous modern example is North Korea. Its entire economy is practically sealed off from the world. Its own industry, its own currency, even its own internet. In the past, the Soviet Union followed a similar path, tightly controlling foreign trade and limiting contact with capitalist countries. And take Japan, for instance. Until the mid-19th century, it completely banned trade with the West. That isolation lasted for more than 200 years. Now, the opposite. An open economy is when a country actively interacts with the rest of the world, selling, buying, investing, welcoming tourists, talent, and capital. In today's world, fully open economies include Singapore, Ireland, and the Netherlands. In these countries, exports and imports often exceed the size of their own GDP. But the key difference isn't just about trade, it's about mindset. A closed economy sees other countries as a threat. An open one sees them as an opportunity. And that mindset shapes everything, from tax policy to the overall quality of life.
Imagine the global economy as a giant web. Each country is a node, and the threads between them are flows. And there are 5 main types of these flows. Goods and services, the classic one. Exports and imports. Cars, soybeans, technology, tourism. Capital. Money moving between countries as investments, loans, or shares. People. Migration, workers, students, professionals who move abroad. Technology and knowledge. Patents, scientific discoveries, innovations. Information and culture. Movies, music, content, ideas. When a country opens up, these 5 flows start moving in both directions, and that changes everything. Businesses gain access to new markets and technologies. People get opportunities to work or study abroad. Governments attract foreign investments and capital. But along with all these benefits comes dependency. If you import 90% of your fuel, a spike in global oil prices can shake your entire economy. If your factories depend on chips from Taiwan, any crisis there can stop production here. An open economy is, in essence, a shared game, and when one piece falls, the effect can ripple across the whole world. And we've already seen that happen, more than once. So here's the question. Why do some countries choose to stay closed? The reason is control. A closed economy gives the state full control over everything. Prices, wages, currency exchange rates, even what people are allowed to consume. In the short term, that can create a sense of stability. Think about it. No imports, no currency shocks. No foreign debt, no external pressure. Another argument is protecting young industries. When a country is just beginning to build its own manufacturing sector, it's hard to compete with global giants. For example, in the mid-20th century, many Latin American countries deliberately restricted imports to develop local production. The logic was, first we grow, then we open. And finally, ideology and security. For the Soviet Union or Cuba, isolation was part of a political project. We don't depend on the capitalists. But over time, isolation turns into a trap. Without external competition, the economy stagnates, technology falls behind, and innovation dies out. Because progress doesn't happen in a vacuum.
Now let's look at the other side. An open economy is essentially the engine of growth. When a country opens its markets, it gains three main advantages. Specialization. Every nation focuses on what it does best. Japan, technology. Brazil, agriculture. Switzerland, finance. Norway, energy. Everyone trades and everyone wins. Competition. Openness keeps you on your toes. If you're a producer, you have to be better, because there are hundreds of others nearby. This drives innovation and higher quality. Access to capital and technology. Foreign investments, startups, international partnerships, all of this creates an acceleration effect. Take South Korea as an example. In the 1960s, it was mostly an agricultural country. It opened its economy, focused on exports, and within decades became a global tech powerhouse. But of course, openness isn't a magic pill. With opportunities come risks. You know what's interesting? An open economy is like a person with the door wide open. Friends can come in, investments, new technologies, trade opportunities, but uninvited guests can also enter. Crises, currency shocks, external risks. First, global crises. We saw this in 2008, a financial storm in the US, and within months the wave reached Europe, Asia, even Africa. Financial systems are interconnected, like dominoes. Second, currency vulnerability. If your economy is tied to the dollar or the euro, any exchange rate fluctuation hits exports, imports, and ultimately everyday consumers. Third, loss of local production. When cheap imports flood the market, local factories can't compete. The result? Unemployment, deindustrialization, and dependence on foreign suppliers. And finally, economic dependence. If your entire energy sector relies on one country, this is no longer just an economic risk, it's a political one. Example: Europe and Russian gas. Everything worked fine for decades, until one day showed how dangerous that dependence really was. An open economy is freedom, but freedom always comes at a price. And now we come to the most interesting question. Is it possible to be a little open? Yes, and that's exactly what most countries do. The US is open, but imposes tariffs to protect its own industries. China is open, but controls capital and limits foreign access to certain sectors. The European Union is highly integrated, yet maintains strict security policies. They're all searching for balance between the efficiency of the global market and the security of their own economy. It's like an open window. Open it too wide, and not only fresh air comes in, but also dust. Close it completely, and you suffocate. So the main art of modern policy is managing openness. Not just opening up, but doing it smartly. And now, the present. It might seem like globalization has already won, but no. In recent years, the world has been adjusting the boundaries of openness again. COVID-19 showed just how easily global supply chains can break. One factory in China, and the whole world runs out of microchips. The US-China trade wars proved that the economy is also geopolitics. New terms like friendshoring or nearshoring mean that countries are starting to cooperate only with trusted partners, or move production closer to home. The world isn't becoming closed, it's becoming selectively open. We no longer live in an era of full globalization. We live in an era of cautious globalization. And maybe that's a good thing. Countries are starting to account not just for profits, but also for risks. An open economy isn't just a political choice, it's a philosophy. It's a choice between fear and trust, between control and development, between the past and the future. A completely closed country is doomed to fall behind. A completely open country risks losing control. A smart country
seeks balance. Because in a world where everything is connected, survival doesn't go to the biggest or the strongest, but to the one who can adapt flexibly. If you found this lesson useful, support our channel with a like, subscription, or donation, and be sure to leave a comment about how valuable it was to you. In the next lesson, we'll talk about aggregate demand and supply, exploring both theory and real-world examples. See you there!